Welcome, travelers, to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable. For when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
Do you know the Muffin Man? Go ahead. You can say the next two lines yourself. Okay, good job. Yes, do you know the Muffin Man? He does not live in Drury Lane, however. He lives in your nightmares. Let me explain, because this might be somewhat confusing. The Muffin Man is not a Freddy Krueger type entity, and he does not invade your sleep cycle. He also doesn't target your specific fears or anything like that. He's very real. Let me be clear, I've never seen him, but I've seen what he has done. My mom made sure I knew the real story of the children's nursery rhyme. It most likely saved my life. I hope this saves yours too. As a child, I'd say my first solid set of memories came when I was between 3 and 5. Hard to say, right? Maybe that's late in life to start remembering things? I'm sure I can look up when the average age that memory develops. I don't have that kind of determination, though one memory always stuck with me from an early age. Again, not sure how early, but it feels like it's one of my first vivid memories. My mother did her best. My father died when I was an infant, some kind of work accident. She would never expand on that, not even to this day. I'm almost 40 years old, so it's been a very long time that she's kept the real story from me. I could probably do some digging myself, but again, I'm just not that determined. Maybe it's better to just not know some things. My mother made sure that I knew the absolute truth of the Muffin Man, though. As much of a truth as she could convey. Speaking of my mom, same old story. Single mother, raised multiple children. I was the youngest. Did odd job after odd job, met some unsavory characters, fell into a deep depression, gained some kind of drug or alcohol dependency problem. Congratulations, kid. You got yourself another long road to success or failure, depending solely on you, with no guidance from 2 solid parental units. She was a sweet woman, though, even with all her faults. I always knew she had the light of sun inside of her. She's never abusive to me or my brothers. She never yelled. She was just beaten down by life. The biggest shame is that I was never old enough to really see that. But I was old enough to develop my first memory, probably before her life took a sharp left turn and then a hard drop. I think we can all agree, as people, that the human memory isn't at all perfect. I've heard that every time you remember something, it gets distorted just a bit. So, you remember your 10th birthday thousands of times, and what does that mean? Your memory of that day is some kind of mutated amalgamation of what happened and what you think happened. I don't know. I'll say it again. I don't care all that much to know. I do care that I remember singing and playing the Muffin Man with my mother. Every time I remember this, it is exactly the same. Sunlight is streaming through the window behind her. Her raven black hair is as straight and beautiful as Sacagawea. We're both singing, me in my lumpy childlike way, her cross-legged. She didn't even have that great of a singing voice, but hearing her sing the Muffin Man song fills me with warmth, even after what I have learned. I can't remember if there was a patty cake type game that accompanied the rhyme. It feels like there is, but that's where my memory ends. I brought this up to my mom a few times. She can't remember this at all. She knows the rhyme and admits she sung this to all of us boys, but it was no more than that. No patty cake, no enthusiasm. Just a motherly way to entertain her children. The last time I saw her, she looked bad. She was well beyond her years in a bad way. I wanted to go back to this nursery rhyme, one of my earliest and most pure memories. We always talked about singing the Muffin Man together when I was so very young. What she said this time changed my life. Yes, I remember, she slurred. Damn, Mom. Can't even start the conversation without slurring. It's like 10 in the morning. It just makes me notice again how bad she looks. Well, our conversations are like this now. The 5 or 6 that we have a year. Yeah, Mom, you know, I always loved hearing you sing that to me. She seemed to have a flash of sobriety on her face. I ever tell you and I'm losing her again. The real story of the pastry, the thing, Muffin Man, yeah, the Muffin Man. I ever tell you? Holy shit, she is really out of it tonight. It looks like this will be a short visit. I took a moment to look at my mother, the woman that gave birth to me. At this moment, I saw the 30-year-old version of her. Smooth tan skin, jet black hair, a smile that lasted for an eternity. As that facade faded, the current version reverted itself once again. Glazed eyes, subtle spittle foaming from the side of her mouth. A human form of defeat. She looked down, seemingly because she was shutting down, but she rose her head. A moment of clarity followed. You don't know the Muffin Man, because I don't want you to. He ruins everything he touches for nothing more than pure enjoyment. He'll do it to anyone. I don't mean to be sexist either. There are probably female muffin women. They prey on many targets. They are legion, and they are real. He is real. I waited for her next confounding statement. After about 20 seconds, I realized my mother had passed out, or blacked out. I couldn't be sure, really. Her eyes were slightly open, and she was breathing. But the life had left her for the moment. That was the most lucid 3 or 4 sentences I've heard from her in the last half of a decade. I thank the universe for at least giving me that. I gently guided her unconscious body onto the couch she was sitting on and covered her with a nearby blanket. The tactile feat of this blanket was questionable at best. I left her shitty apartment complex and opened my phone. I sent both my brothers one simple message, still insane, and walked to my car. When I arrived at my modest ranch home in the valley, I checked my phone finally, don't text and drive, and saw that I had absolutely 0 responses from my brothers or anyone else. That night, I slept for maybe 24 minutes, 25 at best. I had a vision of muffins, blood, violence. I got out of bed when the sun broke the horizon. I was determined for the first time in many moons. I finally found myself a mission and attacked the internet like a man that had not slept for 24 or 25 minutes in the last few days. I knew where to start, but didn't know where to end. My poor mother was only clear about one thing in the last decade. The Muffin Man was evil. He, she, they are killers. She doesn't remember the fun nursery rhyme as much as the killer connotations that it meant. I searched everything I could. I came up with freaking nothing. Well, not nothing, but not much that I could use. From what I've gathered, the classic song could have come from an actual baker from London in the 1600s. He, or they, could have lived on Drury Lane, which actually does exist. The Muffin Man probably served or delivered English muffins, not the sweet, plumper versions the US Americans imagine. He could also, or she, you know what? I'm not just going to refer to the entity as the Muffin Man, like I have been, just to avoid any confusion on my end. He could also be a ragamuffin, a vagabond, a vagrant, a societal outer. In other words, he might not even be a baker at all, but a dangerous man with no home, no consequences, no responsibilities. Something doesn't feel right. My left arm fell off the table. I tried to keep typing, finally noticing that only my right arm remained on the computer. As I was trying to mentally will it back to the table, my vision blurred. The darkness was coming. As hard as I fought it, it was, do you know the... Both my brothers are staring at me. Hey guys, glad you came over. You made good time, I said. You didn't invite us, my older brother said. I laughed. Well, you're both here. And you wouldn't be if I didn't ask you to hang out. Neither of you guys ever asked me to come over. No, he said, you didn't. And we're not in your house. We're in the hospital, bro. At this moment, I realized I was lying down in an uncomfortable bed, only slightly more uncomfortable than mine at home. There was a lot of white here. That would explain it. After having a pretty decent conversation with my brothers, they informed me that I had what medical professionals call a cerebrovascular accident, a stroke to me and you. I'm sure I, along with most of you, thought I was much too young to have a stroke. That's for old people, right? It turns out 10% of adults under 45 get them, so I'm cool and unlucky. I was lucky though, actually. I had little to no permanent brain damage. I also did not forget my memories of the Muffin Man. I had to talk to my mother again immediately. After some doctor-ordered bed rest, I felt good enough to finally drive. I was feeling better. I thankfully had a Waterflow-endorsed insurance plan that covered me quite handsomely while I was out of work. I had rediscovered my love of working out through physical therapy. I was also reading more to work out my brain. Not to mention, it's also Christmas time. Even though today was a balmy 80 degrees in South Cali, Christmas feels the same as it is in a snowy climate. I've always loved this time of year. I've decided that I'm going to kidnap my mom. Would that be mom napping? Either way, I'm going to take her from her apartment, forcefully, if I must. I will then drive her straight to Palm Springs and throw her in the Monarch Shores Rehabilitation Facility. I know this place will work, as my middle brother and our family got clean here. Middle children, right? Her apartment complex always reminds me of the one Daniel LaRusso moved into in the first Karate Kid. The building was a big U-shaped, with 2 stories, a biohazardous pool set in the middle for all the residents to enjoy. I walked up to the second level, towards 211. Her door was visible as soon as you got to about the 4th or 5th stair from the top. I could already see that her door was slightly open. I'm going to save you all most of the details because I cannot bear to write them down. I'm sorry, I truly am. I'll give my best. Too long, don't read summary for the internet crowd reading this. My mom was dead. I don't know how long. The police are still investigating. It couldn't have been that long, as I'd imagined a housekeeper or other staff members would have noticed her door was open. At the very least, someone would have smelled the unmistakable odor of death if she'd been there for more than a few days. The room was covered in blood. Among the plasma, I discovered a note, which I kept. I know, I tampered with a crime scene. It could possibly be charged with some type of obstruction. But I could not leave the authorities this evidence. It's not evidence. It's for me, and not the state. It was short, and I'll just leave you with the most important part. Son, he's here. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you everything. It's not your father. He is deceased. That much is true. It was an accident. He died trying to defend me. Your brothers were not here, and you were in my belly when it happened. I think I broke when I saw him die. I should have never sung that song over and over to you. The Muffin Man will be coming for you next. God bless you, my little boy. I hope you never know the Muffin Man. I'm sitting here in my dark room. I just buried my mother, what was left of her, that is. I couldn't bring myself to tell my own brothers what happened. Just another senseless murder is all I could come up with. The cops tried their best. In the end, they just didn't have enough to go on. Maybe the note would have helped. Maybe one day I'll hand it over and risk prosecution. Maybe. I don't know how she saved my life by singing the Muffin Man song to me. Maybe I'll never know. Maybe. I tried. I don't know where to go next. I don't know what to do next. The only thing I know is that I'm going to walk down to Ralph's grocery store. I'm going to toast up some English muffins, and I'm singing a little rhyme. Tonight's story was The Muffin Man, written by Blake Blizzard. If you enjoyed this content, chances are you'll enjoy his other stories. The links to his social medias will be in the description below. Hey, did you know I have merch? Yeah, it's crazy, right? But I do. And if you'd like to walk around representing my realm and gaining new travelers, the links to my merch store as well as all my other social medias will be in the description below. As always, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my lovely Patreons. 242 Reads, Seraphine, the Midnight Bard, Creepy Clown Girl, Mia Mina, Philia Noctis, Hair-Raising Narratives, Spooky Boo Scary Story Time, Lycan Trucker, and Nathaniel Nelson. If you'd like to join these lovely travelers but I'll add my fire, you can do so by becoming a Patreon as well. Just remember, support is always appreciated but never expected. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ding that bell if you're new for all future content, as it will really help push this video out into the algorithm and help the channel grow.
And as always, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.